Good damn morning, Americans. Jericho Green here with you once again. Before I get started, man, got to give a big shout out to my man David. Ran into him out in the world. He's a fan of my videos, man. I really appreciate that. I appreciate the kind words. I appreciate the support. Dave is also from my area, so he knows what it's like to be in the belly of the disgusting liberal, granola-headed, dirt-fucking beast. Also, big shout out to my man Jay Doyle in Philly. What's up, man? And this video is going to be a double header because there's two things I want to talk about, but I'm trying to get it done because I got stuff to do, man. I got to take my son to get his haircut. It's picture day tomorrow. So, first of all, I don't know if you guys heard of this. I'll put a description or a link in the description box so you can check out the article. But some ghetto-ass Thundercat in Ohio got shot trying to rob a Dollar General. Hello. You can't take a gun in somewhere and demand other people's possessions. That shit can get you killed. That's what he got. He ordered up a lead omelet, heavy on the lead. And they put it right here, center mass, just like they teach you. But what's the funny part of this story? This ghetto motherfucker has two siblings. I don't even remember their names. I don't give a shit. But it's a brother and a sister of his in front of the camera. And you know these news stations can't wait to stick a camera in the face of some ignorant motherfucker to see what they have to say. That's what they did. So before they start talking, you hear the person doing the voiceover say that the fool that got shot is the second of their 10 siblings to die due to gun violence. Now, gun violence, I think, should be used in a different way because violence, it has a bad connotation to it, if that makes sense. Like, gun violence makes it sound like something that shouldn't have happened, like some kid got into his dad's gun safe and blew his friend's face off. This wasn't gun violence. This was self-defense. This was protection. This fucking idiot came in there with a gun, and this wasn't the first Dollar General he robbed. At the end, you see him say that he's allegedly involved in other commercial robberies. So this dude was a career piece of shit who got what he deserved. But these two dummies out there, the sister, neck rolling, hand clapping, you fucking mammy, you stereotype. Somebody please take her ovaries. I want her cleaned out like a pumpkin when you're about to make a jack-o'-lantern. You scoop all that shit out. Yeah, hollow her out, take her ovaries, and please hold that fool down and give him an irreversible vasectomy so they can't make other little dumb fuckers like them to go rob other Dollar Generals and stick guns in people's faces. Now, just because the people didn't get shot doesn't mean they're not traumatized. When some fucking idiot comes in and waves a gun in your face, that sticks with you. That's fucked up. People shouldn't be put in fear like that. So this dummy goes in the store. The clerk feels threatened. Hello, motherfuckers point a gun at everybody. He pulls his gun and shoots this dumbass. Great. What's the problem? I don't see the problem. Now, if his siblings weren't equal pieces of shit to him, they would have been like, hey, I'm sorry my brother died, but you can't. What do you expect? We need more stories like this where guns are used to save lives. See, all we hear about is the mass shootings, active shooter, mass shootings, active shooter, gun violence. Oh, my poor baby got killed, which is sad. But why don't we hear about the hundreds of thousands to millions of stories every year where guns save lives? Everybody who owns a gun is not a psychopath wanting to go to a mall and shoot people. That is a minute, microscopic portion of the population of gun owners. Let's get back to the truth. Let's start telling people the truth. Let's start telling people that guns do way more good than bad. You hear something go bump in the night at 2:30 in the morning, what do you want in your hand? A stick or a gun? You choose. Now, second part of our double header. California, California. Every time California sees someone else doing something dumb, they say, oh yeah? And here we are. Gavin Newsom just signed into law that now high school kids can't start school before 8:30 and lower grades can't start school before 8 o'clock. They're pushing back start times. Excuse me. Why? So the kids can get more sleep. They say that teenagers require 8 to 10 hours of sleep a night. And on average, I'd say only 15% of kids are getting that amount of sleep. And on average, you get 7.5 hours of sleep as a teenager. So now it's the government's responsibility to push back the start time so little Jimmy and Tanya can get to school on time and they're not groggy. What? Let me tell you something, you dumbass government. Parents, we have broad shoulders. We can take a lot of weight. We can take a lot of responsibility. Those responsible ones of us, we're ready for this. We're ready for the challenge. We're ready to do what we have to do to turn out productive members of society. We don't need you pushing back the start times so our kids can get more sleep. What we need to do is make sure our kids go to sleep earlier. That's what my parents did. My parents didn't have a cape. They're not superheroes. My dad wasn't bit in the hand by a radioactive fucking spider. My mom didn't fall into a vat of radioactive goo. They were parents. They did what they had to do. That continues. What the fuck do you mean pushing back a start time? Why don't you push back Call of Duty time? Why don't you push back Instagram and what's that? Snapchat time? What is this shit? I don't need you adjusting the world for my kids. I'll adjust my kids for the world. I had some lady come into my job once and we're talking, I don't know what the fuck we were talking about. Somehow we got on the subject of kids and bedtime. And she goes, I just don't know how to get my 17-year-old to go to bed. He's up until 2 or 3 in the morning playing video games. Huh? You can't get your 17-year-old to turn off the video games. Here's a suggestion. Walk in his room and unplug that shit and take it. What are you talking about? You know what? After my dad passed, he passed when I was a teenager. So it was me and my mom for a little bit. So she would leave for work before me. So as a teenager, what time was it? It was time to kick it, America. It was time to watch TV and fuck around and be late for school. So there was this TV and I would go get it and bring it in my room. Hang out, right? Well, one day I went to go get said TV and I grab it and the cord was cut off. My mom took a pair of wire cutters and cut the cord off the TV so I couldn't watch TV in the morning and be late for school. She didn't petition my school to push back the start time. That's what they're doing. They're taking our personal responsibility and they're putting it in their hands so they have the power. No, you lazy fucking parents, make your kids go to bed at a reasonable time. Don't send these sleepy fucking zombies to school for the teachers to deal with. Another thing about school, I read an article that California are going to make it so kids aren't food shamed, lunch, everything's a shame now. Lunch shame, except regular shame. Where's just a regular shame? But anyway, they don't want kids to be shamed or embarrassed because their parents didn't pay their lunch debt so they can't get their free lunch. Because basically if you don't pay, a kid walks up and the person's going to be like, I'm sorry, kid. You got money you got to pay. I can't give you lunch, which is fucked up. But you know what? It's fucked up to put that person, that lunch lady, that lunchman, that lunch person in that position. Personally, I don't see why we even need school lunch at all. It's less than $1 a day to make a sandwich for your kid. Why the fuck is your kid having their first meal at school? Why is your kid walking to school stomach and shit. Can't even hear their friends talking to them. The stomach's growling so fucking loud. My dad would call those missed meal cramps. Why is that? Get your fucking ass up and make your kid a lunch. My parents did it again, not superheroes. My mom would even put a little note in there. Have a nice day. Love you. Love you too. Love you too, Mom. You know what I'm saying? Again, parents, you have a lot of responsibility. If you can't handle it, don't fucking do it. If you can't stand, just like the saying goes, if you can't stand the heat, stay out of a woman's vagina. Right? I think so. I'm pretty sure. I'm going with it. What the fuck, man? Why is it a school's responsibility to fill your child's belly? Maybe have like a bunch of microwaves so, you know, if kids come with leftovers or something, they can heat them up. But why do we need free lunch? For who? And if you're paying for free lunch, why the fuck can't you keep up on your bill? Got your kids standing there holding up the line looking like an idiot. Feed your children. They're yours. You lay down and let somebody go in your vagina, or you climbed on top of somebody and did that. Take care of it. The fuck is a school feeding your kid for? They didn't make them. Now, every once in a while, and I mean once in a while, we had free lunch as a treat, you know. But the other 363 days a year, or what, I guess 178 days a year, because there's only 180 school days, we had lunch. Tuna fish, ham sandwich, leftovers, snack, sweet, a drink, very balanced. Snap the fuck out of it, parents. Feed your own kids. Make your kids go to bed on time. I thought these were the basics. Now, granted, I know I'm going to do some damage to my kids unintentionally. But one thing I do, one thing we do, one thing my wife and I do is we make sure our kids go to bed at a decent time so they're well rested for school. This ain't rocket surgery, right? Feed your children, put them to bed at a reasonable hour. Class dismissed. What the fuck? Parents, stop being so shitty, because that's allowing our government to be shitty. Push back the start times. You better take your ass to bed. Parents, you need to walk in that room, take that phone. You know what? Fuck that. You don't even need to go in the room. Call the phone company, have them disconnect that line. Grab that PS4 or 5, whatever we're on, that Xbox, whatever we're on, and take it. I saw an episode, this is unrelated, but it just popped in my head because I'm talking about PS4s and shit. I remember watching an episode of Beyond Scared Straight, where they get these little punks and take them to jail for the day. And they always show the kids at home before the Scared Straight program, you know, telling their parents, fuck you and all that, walking around, fighting, smoking weed. And this one kid got these $100 and some Jordans up on his table, playing up. This little bastard had like a 50-inch TV in his room. TV's in a kid's room. That's another video. But this little Thundercat had his feet up with a big-ass TV in his room playing video games in the middle of the day. His mom walks in and asks him to do something, and he goes, I don't want to hear that shit. Leave me alone. Man, let me tell you something. You tell me you don't want to hear that shit wearing those shoes that I bought, playing that video game system that I bought, on a TV that I bought, in a room that I pay for? I would grab that TV and that PS whatever, I would wrap the cord up. Luckily, I would wrap it around your fucking neck. I would have you stand up, kick off those expensive shoes, open that window, and they're going out of it. And when the TV and PS4 crashes on the sidewalk below, you take your little grounded for life ass down there and clean it up. The fuck? You don't want to hit. Don't worry, you won't hear this shit anymore. All you're going to hear is the sound of your TV and PS4 slamming against the pavement. Parents, we need to do better. If you're not ready, don't make them. I'm trying to keep it simple. If you're not ready, don't come inside of someone. If you're not ready, don't get cummed inside of. And we won't have stupid ass laws like this that are pushing back the start time. And we won't have ignorant fuckers going into Dollar Generals getting blasted and then having their dumb siblings outside like, he takes some responsibility, but not all. Call the police. You're not supposed to shoot someone. Bitch, I wish it was you getting shot instead, you dumbass. Again, I will put the link to that ridiculous article that will either make blood shoot out of your nose or will make you laugh hysterically in the description box. People, like I said, I got a packed agenda today, so let me get to it. But you know how it goes. I try to be done with the left, but they just won't let me. Please subscribe, hit that notification bell, because every time that bell rings, a piece of shit liberal cries. Utilize the PayPal link and the Teespring link to get your green gear. I am Jericho Green. Man, I'm out.